Good evening, social media friends. In this given month of October, for tonight's episode, we're gonna do our best to mix in some serious business content as well as some fun local content. So, with all of that being said, let me welcome my co-host Greg Vanden Brook into tonight's conversation, and let's give him a rip roaring fan base cheer and applause. Here we go. There you go, Greg. Your fan base cheering you on, man, like a rock star that you are. How's that?
I always look forward to your introductions, Bill. Yeah. They're always quite amusing.
The beautiful part of being a host of a virtual video podcast series is, well, I have full liberty, creative, wisdom as to how I want to do what I want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, let's start off with an easy question for you. As now the weather is starting to change, I do believe this weekend might be still a very good weekend. My first question to you is, have you put up your kayak yet?
Haven't put it up yet. My wife was just asking me about that and whether or not we should put the kayaks away. And I said, it's supposed to be 75 degrees, I think, this weekend. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go, but we're not going to put them away yet. We'll leave them a little bit longer.
Good.
But I will tell you, we always have a challenge every year as we come into October.
Okay.
We always try to make it to the last day in October before we turn the heat on.
Yes.
So now with these cold days, it's starting to get a little bit difficult, but we still have not yet turned it on.
Yeah. Well, we turned on our heat downstairs last night because my wife was like, it's kind of cold. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. So we did flip it on downstairs, but I adjusted everything so that it wouldn't kick on too often. But
our house amazingly stays cool longer in the year, like through June.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to turn the AC on. It's always nice and cool. And then in the wintertime, it stays fairly warm, but longer than most people. Most people are turning their heat on, and we're weeks out from that. So
okay, good.
I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that, but I agree with you. I think this weekend will still be a very nice one for you. Blue skies, most likely sun.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pull your kayak back out on the river for a little bit.
Yeah, the only problem is we need some rain. We don't have enough water. So
yeah, our brothers and sisters down in Florida and the Carolinas, they got too much of that stuff, right?
Right.
All right. So let's get into our usual conversation. We'll lead in with, of course, the professional business content. And that is, Greg, why don't you lead us off with, what is the local real estate market looking like? What are current trends? Why don't you lead us off?
Well, the trends are getting better in terms of just a few more homes are starting to come on the market.
Yeah.
Homes are also taking a little bit longer to sell, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Prices, though, are still going up quite a bit.
Yeah.
To give you an example, I was looking at sales for the month of September. The average sale in Bolingbrook is $355,000, up $5,000 from the month prior, which was $350,000.
Wow.
So the average sale is $355,000. If you look back at September last year, the average sale was $317,000. So $317 to $355,000, that's up 10%.
Wow.
The average market time stayed consistent with last month. It's taking about 28 days for a home to sell. And last year during September, it was 32 days.
Okay.
So 32 days, a little bit longer last year. This year, it's a few more days. It's going a little bit quicker, but at least it's holding steady from the month prior.
The homes that are coming onto the market for sale, this question could be kind of a double-edged sword, so I'll leave it to you as to how you want to best answer it. Do you see them going under contract, going into escrow like pretty quickly, or are you seeing some of them do rounds of price reductions? I'm curious.
So I still haven't really seen a whole lot of price reductions yet.
Okay.
The average to nice home is going to go off the market fairly quickly.
Yeah.
The issue that we kind of run into, we don't have that much inventory, and some of the inventory that we have is just not good, and it's way overpriced.
Okay.
I've been showing a lot of homes recently, not just here in Bolingbrook, but in surrounding communities, where the sellers are just asking for the moon, and the house just does not warrant it.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit frustrating, a little bit crazy, and they are not selling. They're not selling those homes. They're sitting on the market.
Wow.
The best approach at that point is when the sellers do come around to really what their house is worth.
Yeah.
It's best off to take it off the market.
Okay.
Maybe redo some photos or whatever you need to do, and then put it back on at that lower price.
Okay. Kind of reset the vision on that property. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, wait a few days, wait a week, and then put it back on.
Okay.
A lot of times, some of these homes that I've been showing, they're just filled with the seller's stuff.
Yeah.
And it's too much.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like, I'm a realtor. I've been selling houses for 18 years. You think that I could look around some of this stuff, and I can't.
No.
It's like, oh, this is gross.
Yeah.
So I am seeing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But so hopefully those sellers will, get with the times and get back to reality and bring their prices down.
Yeah. And for those of you watching us tonight, if you rewind to a few past episodes, Greg and I brought in a social connection who is a professional organizer. And with what Greg just said, that's spot on. You got to get rid of stuff. You got to declutter. You got to make it look as if the potential buyer has so much room to place their personal belongings into the home, rather than, oh, you got all the stuff that is distracting from my view, and then they start to question and wonder whether they can move into the home, right?
Right.
Yeah, I hear you. And by the way,
there's a lot of homes too where I'm thinking, okay, if we were to get this under contract today, there's no way the sellers are moving out in 30 days. They would need an army in here to get it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. By the way, there are armies of those resources to help you get stuff out of the home that you're selling. And maybe in a future episode, we'll bring in some of those resources to talk about what they do, how they do what they do, and of course, what might be your dollar investment into doing that, because you're obviously choosing not to DIY it. You're choosing not to declutter. You're choosing not to part ways with the stuff you don't want. So there's people for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's absolutely people for that. So let's now move the conversation to this time of the year, Greg. We are 2 weeks out from the first of 3 big holidays, right? The first one is the fun one. It's Halloween. I know your kids, your kids are teenagers and kind of older. Yeah. So am I correct? They're probably not doing the trick-or-treating thing, right?
No.
Okay.
I think they stopped that about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. All right. So they're not the older kids that do the trick-or-treating like at the last half hour. No. All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm curious with you living in Bolingbrook, being a property owner in Bolingbrook. Yep. What are the treats that you offer to those trick-or-treaters?
Well, we used to offer a pretty cool gift to all the trick-or-treaters for about maybe 7 years in a row.
Wow.
We would offer not a treat, but a trick. And it usually scared the bejesus out of them. So I have a 3-car garage.
Okay.
And we turned that into a haunted house.
Oh, wow.
And we had really cool displays. I would dress up as Michael Myers. And a lot of times, I would kind of move around with people and come after people, kind of, to scare them and stuff like that. So we actually won the Bolingbrook Award one year. And we have a plaque, that says,
no way.
Yeah, winner or whatever.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. So our house was the house that a lot of the people around the area would come to, and people would drive in their cars just to come into our haunted house.
Okay.
There was one year I felt bad for the girl, to be honest with you. I was pretending like I was Michael Myers sitting in a chair, and I had, newspaper up my sleeve to make it look like I was stuffed,
Okay.
Fake.
Yeah.
And I had the bowl of candy there, and she was probably, if I had to guess, 15. And she was with her friend, and she went down to get the candy, and I jumped up, and she ran so hard, spilled her candy in the street, tripped.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, what do I do? Do I take my mask off and say sorry, or do I actually go after her with the fake knife I had to really scare her?
And how many years ago was that event?
It was probably about, I'd say 8 years ago.
Okay. So 8 years ago, fast forward to now, she's a grown adult.
Yeah.
And for that person, if you are watching tonight's episode, for whatever reason, by some happen chance, Greg didn't mean it. He's really a friendly person. And by the way, who knows? Maybe you need his help to buy a home so that you can do the same Michael Myers trick to your trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. But it was fun. We always had a pretty good time. It took us days to set up.
Wow.
A couple of days to take down, because we had, fake walls, and it was a real spooky kind of a, haunted house. So it was fun.
Wow. Where did you, I'm curious now, where did you store all of the stuff that you used to decorate and convert your 3-car garage into a haunted house?
I would say we probably had about 12 to 15 large bins.
Yeah.
And we had it packed in there and had it in our basement.
Wow. Hey, that's a nice tip. So for those of you watching tonight's episode, if you're also into Halloween and scaring the bejesus out of people like Greg does, hit him up for some tips as to how you can efficiently store all of your Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas decorations. What do you think about that, Greg?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you can hand the baton off to the next Michael Myers neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah, we stopped doing it. It was just so much work.
Yeah.
Our kids had grown up, so our kids would help.
Yeah.
And then they would play parts in the haunted house. And so
really?
Yeah, but it just became too much work, and it was just like, And then we had a couple of years that it was like snowing on Halloween.
Yeah, I remember.
We had everything set up, and then we didn't get that many people, and it was like,
I remember that year when we got that wet snow. That was not fun.
No.
As you're describing this, you remind me of one of my neighbors, maybe about a block to my right. He really gets into Halloween. Sounds like just like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so for weeks on leading up to right now, every day we see him adding to his decoration.
Yeah.
He does kind of a haunted house. he has a long driveway to a detached garage. So what he does is he sets up the tent in the driveway, and that's his haunted house. So maybe in the next episode, everyone, I'll see if I can take a video and I'll kind of replay it back for all of you and for you, Greg. You might get a chuckle out of it.
Yeah. So every year, my wife and I, we get the map that shows where all the haunted, where all the houses are that are decorated.
Yeah.
And we'll go drive around and we'll take a look at a lot of them. A lot of them are really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I really admire people. Sounds like just like you, who invest a lot of time and energy in creating that scary experience. So I'll bring the trick.
And to be frank with you, it's probably more my wife.
Really?
She's into the planning. She does all of this stuff, and she makes a lot of things. She made a lot of bodies and parts of bodies, and I just, I help out. I'm labor, and I act as Michael Myers.
Wow. Okay. So you're the actor. She's the creative person behind it. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Shout out to Greg's wife, Miss Vanden Brook. So in the spirit of trick or treat, let's now pivot to the treat part. And this is now kind of swinging back to the other side of, professional and business content. So Greg, you are selling this property. Let's bring it up. You are selling this property in Bensenville.
Yeah.
Okay. And for those of you watching tonight's episode, whether it be you or someone that you know who may want to live in Bensenville, who needs to move to Bensenville and needs to take a look at this property, here's a treat for you. This property, everyone, sits in what is called a community lending area. So as an independent mortgage broker, what it means is if you are an eligible buyer interested in this property, you can absolutely benefit from getting a below market rate mortgage to help you get the amount of money that you need, purchase this property with, a skinny or a small down payment. What do you think about that, Greg?
I think that's awesome. I mean, there's so many programs like this.
Yeah.
And so many down payment assistance programs.
Yeah.
That, it's really great for buyers. I had one gentleman that bought a house, and I think he got $15,000 from the city that he doesn't have to pay back.
Right.
Okay? I think it was spread out over years. So as long as he was in there for like 5 years or something.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There are some conditions that come attached with, assistance and or grants, as long as you're made aware of what is in the fine print. You read it, you understand, like, hey, that's my time horizon. Yeah. If you are that eligible buyer, you absolutely should learn more about this. So shout out to your property, your sellers selling this home in Bensenville. Let's now move the conversation, Greg, to spectacular homes. Let me bring up one of your local village trustees. Here we go. This guy named Michael Carpenzano, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, Mr. Carpenzano, as the village trustee, he has created this map, and maybe referencing to. Let me flip over to this. He created this map of Halloween houses. This is from 2023, and as I kind of move the scroll bar down, oh my gosh, I can't even begin to count. I'm going to take a guess. It must be easily 60 houses within Bolingbrook. Yeah. So a day back a few years ago, your property was probably on this list.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was. Yeah, well, we won the award for that year or whatever. So
right. So some of these Halloween houses, maybe they were really scary, right? You know,
Yeah.
you have interactive displays. I see a lot of that these days. Or it was just a scary house, you know, where you kind of lean in, you realize like, oh my gosh, like Greg's house, right? He played Michael Myers. He scared the bejesus out of you.
Yeah.
So with all of that said, everyone, thank you for watching, listening to tonight's episode of Real Living in Bolingbrook. Like I mentioned at the top of our conversation tonight, we try to, you know, create a 50-50 blend of giving you some of the professional business content and also balanced it with some fun, personalized content that I think you might enjoy as well. So if you're wondering, Greg, I got to learn how you store all of your decorations. Maybe that's your motivation, social media friends. Or if you're wanting to get some tips from Greg and his wife as to how to turn a 3-car garage into a haunted house. And last one, this is serious. If you want to know how to sell or buy a home that you want to convert into your Halloween house, how can you get in touch with Greg? Real simple. Scan the QR code that you see here next to his non-Michael Myers headshot. And along the way, if you need a treat to a very cost-effective, below market rate mortgage, scan the QR code on the other side. Both Greg and I will gladly start a conversation with you to help you get to the next chapter of what you want. Greg, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just be safe out there for Halloween. But I'm looking forward to getting, we always get about maybe, we get a ton of people. We probably get about 40 people a year on a normal, if it's a nice weathered night.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. So I still will break out the Michael Myers mask. I still have people asking me, you know.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I might still scare some people. I might be hiding behind the bush or something. And
there you have it. Well, if you're going to do that, not to scare the bejesus out of everyone, have some of your business cards to share and give out to make sure people know I'm not really Michael Myers. I'm your friendly Greg Vanden Brook, real estate broker.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I can give a piece of candy and say, "Oh, here's my card. Give this to your mom."
Love it, love it, love it. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching us and enjoying our banter tonight. Like I said, with both some serious stuff and some fun stuff. Until Greg and I see you in the next episode of Real Living in Bolingbrook. 4 weeks out, people.